Oftentimes, the first step in restoring these vintage watercraft is to remove the coatings. Many layers of coatings built up and applied over the years. If we are removing the coatings from something made of wood, we call this wooding. We wood the bottom, the mast, the top sides, the house sides, etc. We have found on the wooden boats the best way to do this is with heat. The heat softens the coatings and the wood contains moisture. So with a little heat and some scraping, the coatings come right off. This is hot work, and our first concern is fire safety. My father was a welder, and thanks to his guidance, I have been drilled on fire safety from the very beginning. Like he always told me, if ever there's a fire, they always blame the welder. This fire was started by a welder cutting bolts on a creosoted pier, then leaving the job site without maintaining a proper fire watch. One should never become complacent and disregard the risk involved in doing hot work. Heat and flame are one of the most constructive tools that man uses. But if it's let go out of control, it can be one of the most destructive and devastating forces on Earth. So the first consideration is, we do our hot work in the morning when there's no wind. We don't do hot work if the wind's blowing over 6 or 8 knots. The wind blows the heat away from the surface, and if a fire gets started, it will spread too fast. We wet the surface and the whole area down with water, and keep a charged water hose standing by. When stripping paint with a torch, it really helps to re-wet the surface. This reduces scorching of the wood and helps the paint peel off faster. We never work alone. There is always someone standing by as a fire watch. You should periodically and pretty often wet down and sweep or vacuum up the paint shavings, making sure that the paint shavings are cool and there are no embers. A buildup of paint shavings can become a fire hazard. We stop doing our hot work 2 hours before we leave the job site, maintaining a diligent fire watch to make sure there's no smoldering hot spots. One of the techniques to keep in mind when stripping is that heat goes up. So if you start down and work up, the heat preheats the area you're about to scrape. If you do it the other way, the heat may scorch the bare wood. The heat softens the coating, but it's the scraper that actually cuts it off. Dull scrapers tear at the wood, and you have to use too much heat to remove the finish. By keeping our scrapers razor sharp, we can use as little heat as possible. This reduces scorching and ensures the removal of the coating without taking any of the wood. Of course, on clear coating, we can't have any scorching, so we never use a torch. For stripping clear coatings and most paints above the waterline, we use these heat guns. These high-tech digitally controlled heat guns are a vast improvement over the old models. The temperatures can be fine-tuned so that just enough heat is applied to easily remove the coating. These guns are now equipped with an automatic cool-down cycle, so when you shut them off, the fan keeps blowing so that the element doesn't cook itself. It's important for the life of the gun that you don't override this cycle by holding down the power button or unplugging the gun. By using the right tools and techniques, you can remove coatings quickly and efficiently. The perfect job is when the coating's removed with no scorch marks or wood tear out. Always wear proper protective equipment and be fire safe. These videos are made possible by efforts through the Maritime Preservation Trust. Your contributions and support make these videos possible. Please don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, and become a member of the Maritime Preservation Trust.